Well, hello, everybody. Hope you're all doing fantastically well. It's Connor. We're back with another episode on One Leeds. How on earth are you doing, guys? Let me just say, listen, if you enjoy all of your bonus content, please check out oneleeds.com, our brand new website. Links in the description below as well. We are sponsored by IPM Group UK, everybody. Make sure you check them out in the description below. This video is sponsored but by the guys over there. Really appreciate that. I know you guys were interested in us getting sponsors. We've got a local sponsor for this one to deal with all of your security needs. Link is in the description below. We've also got some bits from Football Prize as well that you guys can get involved with an easy entry fee. I've said to you guys, I've been actually thinking about getting involved in it myself, to be honest. The amount of prizes this week is quite staggering, so check that out in the description below. We have Patreon, as always, everybody. The numbers on there are steadily growing. Once again, like to say thank you. I don't know what is going on One Leeds FC. Should be a football. Should get a football team going, shouldn't I, with that name, One Leeds FC. But yeah, listen, we are growing massively on YouTube. Thank you so much for all of your continued support, the engagement, etc., etc. And listen, what I want to say as well is, if any of you guys have written experience and you fancy getting involved in a bit of article writing. I know when I finished university, it was something I really, really wanted to do, and I couldn't find anywhere to do it. If you want to talk about your beloved Leeds United and you're half decent at it, get in contact with me at oneleadsfanchannel@gmail.com. We might be able to sort something out for the website. But hello, everybody. How are we doing anyway? Let's get a couple of your comments in. Logging down in Burnley, I think it's Burnley. Autumn, here we come. Miserable here in LS12. Oh, everybody. There seems to be a bit of a vibe in here that the weather's bad where you are. Guys, I'm on the dark side of the Pennines, which means it is constantly raining. Did we have a summer? No. I think we had about 2 weeks worth of sun. So, yeah, Sujal says, morning, Connor, catching the live after some time. Daughter got married last week, so I've been a little busy. Well, congratulations, Sujal. Congratulations, my friend. George is in the building. Sunny, Vietnam. Where are you in Vietnam, mate? Here you's in here with a little bit of authority already and assertiveness. We have to get promoted. I'm not sure how much the fan base can keep playing. Does he have a release clause? Will he leave anymore? We got to go. Morning, Connor. Morning, a hot Croatia. Nearly 40k subscribers. Sujal, how have we got here, mate? How have we got here? I have no idea, my friend. I have no idea what you guys are doing subscribing to me, the donut. But yeah, we've got a bit to talk about today, and it's topical as I sip from my my vase. Right, let's get into it. Illan Meslier. Okay. Wants a new contract. Contract runs out in 2026, but there is a key note in this contract. Okay, Illan Meslier, according to Ben Jacobs, and according to a fair few sites this morning, which is really interesting. I don't know if they're just quoting Ben Jacobs and a few other bits, but if one I got one out in France as well, and a couple local articles suggesting that apparently he wants a new contract. Now, what do we know about Meslier? Obviously, his contract runs out in 2026. Form. Look, we'll get into that. This is look. I want to get onto the bit that we kind of the point, the evidence, and the explanation here, okay? Or just the point and the explanation. Wants a new contract. He wants an exit clause if Leeds United don't get promoted, okay? And apparently, from Meslier's side, this is what he wants. He wants a brand new contract, obviously, because it runs out. He wants a more lucrative contract with an exit clause. This is why you sell him in the summer window. Yes, everybody. So it sounds like. With the exit clause, this is all based on if Leeds United don't get promoted. Okay, Leeds don't get promoted, and the exit clause is sort of engaged, and he leaves Leeds for a certain fee. Now, I guess this is the problem with Leeds going forward now with this maybe group of people and the reputation that we've maybe formed. The players within the camp right now, you know, if they wanted to renegotiate a contract, if they wanted to, you know, as I've just mentioned, I don't know, extend the contract, get better terms, whatever. The issue now is with the amount of exit clauses we've seen, you're probably going to get agents turning around to the player, which has definitely happened here with Illan Meslier, and going, why do you renegotiate an exit clause? Get an exit clause in there. You know, Somerville had that in there. Archie had that in there. Get yourself an exit clause. You're one of the big assets here. Get yourself one, lad. No problem with that. And we'll see what happens. Now, I think with Illan, it's very interesting because I think I've been banging on the drum to sell the guy for 2, maybe 3 years. And it's interesting now when it's coming up to 2026, the 49ers have got a big decision to make, haven't they? Because we could be in the Premier League, we could be still in the Championship, whatever. But to renegotiate terms with him is really interesting because do you just let his contract sort of dwindle down? Leeds United brought him in for £5 million from Lorient. They're not losing a mass amount, but ideally he was brought in as an asset. You want to sell him on for big value. So then do you offer him a new contract for then a team to come in and buy him out of that contract essentially for a fee of which is more than £5 million? That's probably what the ideal will be for Illan Meslier. So I think the 49ers are going to offer him a new deal, obviously prior 2026. But I would not. Look, on a footballing standpoint, which is what we've got to all talk about here, and I want to get your thoughts in the comment section below. This is the big news today with him, obviously. It coming from his camp, he wants to renegotiate a new contract with an exit clause. I hate that. Guys, I hate that. And that's if this is true. Allegedly, apparently. Look, this isn't you know, it's not formulaic, it's not something that's set in stone, it's not the foundation. This is all based on rumor. Look at the title of the show. If that is the case, contract up in 2026, as Ben Jacobs is saying. Let me read exactly what Ben said here. The 49ers approach is very much that their hands have been tied, as we know, contractually, and anyone that they negotiate with, they want to try and remove that clause. But of course, from the player's point of view, if you knew the clause existed for others, or you signed a new long-term deal, and I think this is particularly the case from what I hear with Meslier, that the player may want to protect themselves against the fact that if Leeds don't go up, they're stuck in a long-term deal and maybe they feel their development is elsewhere. So it's a balancing act. So look, I get it. I get it from that perspective. I do understand from the player's point of view why you'd want an exit clause in there. But this is why, everybody, I've just been absolutely smashing on this drum. I've been smashing the door down on getting rid of this guy. And look, it's not, is it productive for me to be talking about this right now on the back of Leeds United getting 3 clean sheets and 7 points in 9? Absolutely not. But when we're looking at the long term of this club, of which I find myself as a content creator being that sort of person a little bit more regularly for Leeds, I try look long term instead of short term. And a lot of my long term views on certain players, I've mentioned this, form wise, obviously it can change, but does it completely change your point of view on a certain player? Not really. You know, back in the day, did it ever change my opinion with Alioski? That I think he was a budget footballer who was prized up because it was Sentiment FC. I did. I thought, look, he was a good player, developed under Marcelo Bielsa. Not a great player. Berardi was an average football player, a bang average football player who was risen up a little bit because of sentiment and being committed to the club. Calvin Phillips, my opinion on Calvin Phillips, always maintained that he was a good footballer, but he was overhyped because he was a Leeds lad. Patrick Bamford never rated him. Illan Meslier rated him, I think, for about 6 months. So I've been wrong. Of course I've been wrong. But I've been really, really constant with a lot of football opinions when it's come to the actual player. Form can play a factor. Me and KG talk about this all the time. You can change your sort of short-term opinion on a player. He's had a good game there. Yeah, he's had a good game. I'd keep him in for next week, but we still need to do something with him. i.e. Bamford in January. Yeah, you keep him in the side. Don't get me wrong. And many videos of mine said this. Keep him in the side, but we need to change him. And I'd still sell him in January for Kiefer Moore. That's what I was saying in January. So, look, your opinion on a player can change. This is what I'm saying with Illan Meslier. Obviously, football is subjective, but form doesn't really dictate your long-term view on a player. And I think you guys will all attest to that. Illan Meslier right now has kept 3 clean sheets. He's done okay. Does that change my long-term view on the player? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think with him, you sell when the stock is high. January, if we can get a good fee for him, my lord, if we can get a good fee for him, if he can have a good 3 months, a decent 3 months where you're looking at it and you're thinking, right, brilliant, he's kept, but I don't know, 8 clean sheets. 8 clean sheets. He's kept 3 now, hasn't he? 8 clean sheets. There's a club in France who are begging for a goalkeeper. You can get rid of him for 10 million quid. You've made 5 million profit. You don't have to get into negotiation with a new contract. He's got a year left on his contract and someone buys him for 10 million because they're panicking. Something like that is what I am etching for with Illan Meslier. If Illan Meslier has a good period up until January, I can't be listening to. We've got to keep him then for the rest of the season. We've got to keep him. I personally don't think like that. I think long term we've got to look at the situation here and you just get rid of him. Because then what's going to happen is he's going to renegotiate a contract. He's going to be at Leeds for a longer period of time. We're going to pledge loads of money into him and he's going to he's going to have an exit clause in that contract, isn't he? So, let me know on what you guys are saying in the comment section below. Slap a like on the video. This is a very discussion-based video as well because the news is just the Meslier stuff and we've got a few other bits, but I want to hear what you guys have to say on this. Here you can hit the highway. Talk of Bamford getting a new contract. Lee, we're going to ban that. We're going to ban that name. We're going to Bamf that name on this chat. There is no way he's getting a new contract. That will send me over the edge and I'll create a one relationship fan channel where me and my partner are just going off and filming ourselves in the Yorkshire Dales or going up to the peaks or stuff like that and telling you guys about trails around the country. And we'll just start a YouTube channel doing that. And we'll just quit this Leeds stuff. And you guys can follow One Relationship FC. We'll change it up. I wouldn't offer Mez a new contract. I'd tell him we'll have a chat again in January, depending on your form. See, Nige, that's the thing for me. That's the thing, mate. I think that's the problem, bud. I genuinely think that's a problem. Shout out to all the members in the chat. Shout out to all the Patreons in the chat. I can see you here. Make sure you're slapping a like on the video as well. But I think that's the big problem, everybody. The fact that with just a little bit of form, we take ourselves out of that long-term perspective. We think, well, maybe he is we'll just forget the sort of like last 6 years, 5-6 years, what it's been, where he's had a good 6 to 1 year, which was the exact same with Pat Bamford. Exact same, what you could stretch to 18 months out of at the end of his contract, which is going to be a 10-year period he'll have been at the club. I just think right now when his form, when you look at it, is of a decent standard, of which we know, look, a lot of it is probably to do with the defense, a lot of it is probably to do with how Leeds control games. But if you can actually convince a club, or an agent can convince a club to go in for Illan before all of this contract is signed, we'd probably get less for him, of course. But from a business perspective, you get him off the books, then you can maybe in January. Look, the ultimate aim for Leeds United is to get into the Premier League right now. Okay, for me, that's the ultimate aim. Do I think Illan Meslier is going to make a fair few mistakes this season? Yes. If you can eradicate that in January, cut your losses, but make a slight profit, I'm all right with that. I'm fine with that. Ken says, disappointed by Illan. Thought he cares about the team, but I'll be happy to sell and replace him. To be honest, Ken, what I will say, my friend, is this is the rumor. It doesn't mean it's consolidated, my friend. So Giles says, want an exit from LUFC? On your bike then, Illan. Bradley's in the building. Hey, Brad. I feel like an exit clause is valid if you're also to sign contracts for your wage to be halved when you're relegated. Exactly, Bradley. Yeah, and I can completely understand that side of it, as I've mentioned, mate. It's more from a footballer perspective where I don't think anything's going to develop here If he signs a new contract with Leeds United, are we going to be able to get, let's say hypothetically, Leeds don't get promoted, right? And he's got an exit clause in his contract. How much money are we going to be able to get for Illan Meslier anyway? How much money are we going to even make a loss on him as well? I think that's likely, especially if clubs know there's an exit clause in there. Connie, you've had a similar opinion on Peru. Can you still see Peru at Leeds within 2 years? No, I can't. I can't, Brad. I can't see him here in 2 years' time. I think Leeds will be able to move that on. Look, here's one for you. Would the 49ers have moved him on in the summer, potentially, if it wasn't for Daniel Farke? It's a hypothetical. It's a scenario I'm putting out there. Once again, might as well be one discussion fan channel. But would the 49ers have been happy to move him on? There is a conversation there, genuinely. I reckon they'll have looked at Illan Meslier on a bit of a data spreadsheet, been able to find goalkeepers out there, everyone, who are more than affordable. Goalkeepers are probably the most affordable position on the pitch. In fact, they are. They are. And there's loads of them out there. Loads of them at Premier League clubs. Loads of them for good value. Cooper at Sheffield United been a precise example for £2 million, right? Hull getting Carl Rushworth on loan. Hull. Yeah? So there are good value keepers out there. They're so smart, the 49ers. They've got to know this. They've got to know this. So for me, I wonder in the summer if there was a little bit of a conversation between the 49ers and Farke about Meslier, because we know how much Farke loves him. Farke loves him. And it feels like, I wonder if, especially with the De Zerbi Meslier chat, I wonder if Leeds maybe priced Marseille out of it. That was the rumour at the time. That was the rumour from the French side. They were not willing to pay what Leeds wanted. There was conversations of 15 million quid and above. Marseille were not willing to pay what Leeds United wanted, and they moved on. So maybe Daniel Farke was one of the big components of this. He wanted to keep Illan Meslier. He's called him the best keeper in the league last season. He's made him vice captain this season. These are big acts, everybody. Big acts. So for me, he's a massive fan of Illan Meslier, and that makes a lot of sense as to why he's still Leeds' number one. He was gassing him up in the last press conference as well. So I think he's a massive fan of him. But I do wonder from the 49ers side what they think in terms of selling him on at some point. But we all know that you can't really go, above the manager to do something like that. Brad says Meslier's passing, decision-making and handling is so bad. Yeah, interesting. I think you guys are all on the same page here. Just add an exit clause to his existing, say for 10 million, then hope someone pays it. Don't extend his contract. He's useless. Shouldn't be vice captain either. That should be Stroud. Yeah, it's crazy to say Stroud's not there, isn't it, mate? It is crazy. So yeah, and with Joel Peru, I can't see him being at Leeds. I can't see him being at Leeds. I mentioned it being Illan Meslier then, didn't I? But it was Peru, wasn't it? Sorry, bro. I don't know why I've mentioned Meslier, but yeah. No, I can't see him being at Leeds in 2 years' time, Peru. I just can't see it. No, I think someone might come in for him in the summer. I don't think he's going to get a lot of minutes. I genuinely don't. I think Joseph's going to stay fit. Scored the other night, didn't he? Against Scotland. Really good finish. So happy for him. And look, let's kick on now. But I think Joseph's got that hood off his back now, and we're going to start seeing him getting into the flow of the season. Even though he's had 3 goal involvements in 4 games, and he scored 4 in pre-season or whatever it was against top sides in Schalke, Hanover, and Valencia, in respect to where they are and what they're competing for this season. I think this is Joseph's time. I really do, and I'm just so happy for him. And yeah, that's what I'm saying about the continuity of rating a player. You don't just change your mind for me about a player within 2 or 3 or 4 games. I saw this one time. I think someone mentioned it, and they said, Connor always changes his mind. He flips 1 minute and then the next. It's just completely untrue. It's completely untrue. If anything, I'm probably the worst at it because I'm so stubborn when it comes to my opinions. So stubborn. When it comes to players' form and player quality, you guys know, you will say as well, I've got my favourites and I haven't got my favourites. And you're probably right. I'll give everyone credit. Of course I will. But I've definitely got my favourites and some who aren't my favourites. But it's just based on what I rate as a football player. Now, nice little transition into who I do rate as a football player. Wilfried Gnonto. Another bit of news today is suggesting that in January, Genoa and Parma are going to try for the Italian. Now, it was interesting here because I was having a look, and we all know with Willie's contracts, right? with his contract, what do we know? He signed without an exit clause. This is what knocks me off about stuff like this. When you do the rumor mill, I have to say, everybody, which I've now done for 4 years on the channel, 4 years, every single transfer window. So, 8 transfer windows, done it off across a span of however many months. What absolutely does my nutting is, I have to say, when you see stuff like, and we've done reports on it before because it's a rumor mill, but it's when you see Tutto Mercato, it's when you see Calcio Mercato, you see Milan Live, and you think, oh, here we go. And you start reading up on the sources and you start reading up on the actual information, you go, well, it's just not going to happen, is it? It's just not going to happen. So contextualizing it, Wilfried Gnonto was twerking for Everton all last summer, right? All last summer, and it was Everton and Everton only. The links to Italy were quite frivolous. They didn't really have any substance to them. There was no follow-on from maybe initial inquiries. With Everton, it was serious stuff. And we know with them, it's been a continuous thing with Wilfried Gnonto. I wake up this morning, have a look, because I'm always having a look at how he's doing, obviously, because he's Leeds' key man and he got injured, and I'm constantly seeing if he's okay. Just like a parent, is Wilfried Gnonto all right? Because it comes back to recruitment, doesn't it? And if Wilfried Gnonto's out, the X Factor's gone, and you think, bloody hell, in terms of where Leeds are going to replace in that number 10 position, because I don't think we've got anything like Wilfried Gnonto. That's why I'm searching like a madman every single day to see if he's okay, wrap him in cotton wool and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, you see obviously Genoa and Parma are interested, and then you just look at the expenditure. And to be fair, 12 million quid, Parma spent on, I think it was Chiesa this season. Genoa have spent a little bit of money as well, 16 to 18 million quid. But Wilfried Gnonto has just signed a contract for Leeds United. And can you get bought out of a contract? Of course you can. But if Wilfried Gnonto's signing a contract now in September and in January, according to Milan Live, there is likely going to be an exit at Leeds United because Parma or Genoa are going to come in and blow Leeds out the water and give us an offer that we can't refuse. Now, obviously, clubs, I believe, in the top division. I think Parma won Serie B last season. I think Genoa are obviously in the top division as well. They can throw money around 100%, but they're not going to be able to throw the money around that Leeds United are talking about here. And this is the difference between the top level, even in Italy and around Europe. You take your PSGs out of it, but even you can talk about the German Bundesliga. Look at what we got out and Acker. Look at what we're talking about when it came to Jubicic. And I know it's Bundesliga 2, but these are two of the biggest prospects, or two of the biggest players in terms of ability and impact in Bundesliga 2, and they're going for 3 million to 5 million, right? So a lot of these clubs, these top leagues in around Europe, can't compete with even what championship clubs are asking for. Top championship clubs, what they're asking for some of their assets. There is no way, in my opinion anyway, Parma and Genoa, and probably any of the top Italian clubs, which I think now are probably going to be the links when it comes to Wilfried Gnonto, because I don't think there are going to be Premier League clubs looking at him now, to be honest with you, unless he does something, amazing in the next 3 months and scores 15 goals, which I don't think he will. I just don't think there's going to be many clubs who are going to be able to afford him now. And the contract that Leeds have got with him, obviously, is going to, ignite that fee even higher, which is good news, Leeds. We know he had still a little bit left on his contract, a decent time left, and now he's increased that. Better terms for him. It's going to be hard for clubs, and I just don't see it. And I just think it's such poppycock. It's always the same clubs: Genoa, Parma, blah, blah, blah. It's just, Brescia. It's always the same sort of clubs. I just can't see it. Let's have a look. Herbert, Parma started the season very well. They have, mate. But look, when it comes to Parma, and when it comes to clubs like that, with the greatest of respect, I just can't see them affording, 20 million plus for Wilfried Gnonto, which I genuinely believe it's going to cost even in January. That's what I think. That's honestly what I think, especially with the new contract, better terms, the main man. I think that's what's going to look what we're asking for. Look what we're asking for this summer and previous, windows. I can't see it for me. Let's have a quick look. If Mele reads these comments, his confidence dies. Do you know what, Andre? Look, none of us want that. But it is one of those things, mate. We are a fan channel. It's all about discussion. It's all about discourse and debate on here. I've always said that. I'm not coming on here and just be. I've never BS'd on this channel. I've never BS'd as a content creator. That's why some people love me, some people hate me, some people really dislike me because of a football opinion, which I think is mad. But at the same time, we're always going to keep it real on this channel. Always. And I'm not going to come on here with the greatest of respect, mate, and say, yeah, everything's great. I could do that, and I'd have, however many likes and comments and all this sort of stuff. But I've always tried to keep it real on here. And when it comes to Illan Meslier, I think my comments and the subscribers reflect the fact that when we're having a debate about him, long term, he shouldn't be Leeds United's goalkeeper. And that impacts the conversation of which we're talking about today. Blades Ramble, hey mate, how's it going, Jim? We'll buy Gnonto for 13 million. You've already won the league, mate. Anyway, deluded Leeds over here. Blades have won the league, mate. Don't worry about that. Blades have already won the league. What else is going on anyway in the Leeds United world? I think that's pretty much it, everybody. There was a conversation about Matteo Joseph that I saw Matteo Joseph. Is he ready to quit Leeds already? And why? I think it's Football Insider or Sport Witness, I should say, quizzed over a return to La Liga, translated by Sport Witness. Joseph said, "Spain is where I grew up, and who knows if I'll be able to return there in the future." And then the beeline below it is Matteo Joseph to quit Leeds already. I don't think so. No, I don't think that's what Matteo Joseph is saying. I think what Matteo Joseph is just quite simply saying there is, look, in the future, maybe I will return to Spain, which is a very normal thing to say. And look, it's caused a few fans online to question Matteo Joseph and la 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 la. No, Matteo Joseph, just because he said, I might return there in the future, I think that's a pretty normal thing to say. I think it's a pretty normal thing to say. And people asking about this, no, it's not coffee or tea. It is yerba mate. I'm continuing the Marcelo Bielsa legacy here with yerba mate. If you know, you know. We're beating Burnley, Connor. We are, mate. Yep, 100%. And I believe I'm going to that game as well. I believe I am, but I've got to get some confo on that. Paul says, "Did you enjoy the England game, Connor?" Can't get into it. Paul, I did. Yeah, of course. Obviously, you guys know I have a little bit of a split. Conor McGilligan kind of gives it away with one end, not two ends. Kind of gives it away. But I am I was born here. I've never left this country in terms of a living capacity. I am England, yeah. And I was celebrating when Declan Rice scored and Jack Grealish scored, which was quite funny. But I have a mass portion of my family who are Irish, which means you can piss take. That's what football's all about, isn't it? That's where Leeds United divides that hatred when it comes to England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales. We just, it's one of them where like Leeds brings everybody together. But yeah, it was quite funny when Declan Rice pinged the ball into the top corner. However, I was nowhere celebrate. I'd go, get in. If England were to score against Scotland, I'd go nuts. Do you know what I mean? So that's the difference, I think. But yeah, Nations League is terrible. But we're all Leeds, aren't we? It's always club before country. Always club before country for me. However, I did see a Leeds United banner out there. Has anyone ever gone out and watched an England game? I haven't ever watched an England game, to be honest with you. Lee Evans says we always struggle with the first game after internationals. That is true. That is true, Lee. We've always been the same, mate. Ever since I can remember, Leeds coming back from international break. I think even all the way back, I don't know why I've thought of this one, but I'm pretty sure we lost to Cardiff 2-1 at Ninian Park. Viduka scored, and it kicked off with Sam Haman back in like 2001. I think it was 2001. I think that was after an international break. So Cardiff were like lowerly at that point. Leeds were, I'm pretty sure, in the top 3 in the Prem, and went to Cardiff and just got mullered. We lost the game 2-1, but we got mullered in that game. And I'm pretty sure after the international break, we lost to Gillingham as well. I'm sure we did. So yeah, it's not a good period for Leeds, is it? But yeah, keeping you shouting, everybody. God, yeah, I remember that game well. Yeah, man, it was one of my first giant killings because I remember all the Cardiff fans were pelting the Leeds fans at Ninian Park. I think it was only like 3 or 4 years after that they moved to whatever stadium there are now. It's the Welsh Golf Buggy Stadium or whatever it's called. Well, that's how the form from sunny Thailand. Yeah. Let's have a look. Bob Young, great name. On last week's debrief, the word fundamentally was used 21 times, 14 by Oscar, 5 times by Gabe, and twice by yourself. Can we have a sweat box for this, please? Word, please. Do you know what, Bob? I don't use the word fundamentally that often as well. So maybe it's because I was being influenced by Oscar. Honestly, that can happen, mate, on the debrief. Genuinely, we'll just be sat there and you'll have one of them waffling. Because I never waffle, obviously. But one of them will be waffling and you just pick up things. You genuinely pick up things because you're talking for an hour. That is absolutely hilarious. 21 times, 14 by Oscar. Yeah, we'll have a little. What I'll do is I'll get like a little buzzer, and anytime the word fundamentally is used, but yeah, 14 times by if you caught the last debrief, listen, the last debrief I found so funny. People got really upset by it. Gabe ruffled a few feathers, but he's a bit like that, Gabe. That's why we have him on. I literally don't agree with anything he says about 90% of the time. You'll get a lot of echo chambers on YouTube, but I've always sort of made sure with the debrief in particular, because it's a bit of my baby. It's always been there, the debrief. But I've always made sure with it that we've got controversial characters on there who I fundamentally have problems with opinion-wise. Gabe being one of them. We get it, honestly, guys, on the Patreon, we get on it as well when it comes to it. We had like a near-on argument on there the other week on Across the Pond. So if you enjoy that sort of content, head on over there. But it's all about Leeds. And the beauty of it is people get really offended by it, but it's just different opinions. And we all have the common cause, that common shared love of Leeds United. Gabe adores Leeds United, adores Leeds United. I adore Leeds United, so I love having a bit of debate with people about certain things, but we all come together at the end. We'll all share a Coca-Cola or a beer or whatever, or an online virtual coffee or tea, and we'll all still be friends and love the club. Do you know what I mean? But I think it's really important to have personalities on like Gabe. Oscar is fantastic in his own respect. I've known him for about 6 years now, data-driven. But if you can honestly get Oscar Marriott riled with a footballing opinion, you've done something beautiful, absolutely beautiful in the content creation space regarding Leeds United, because it never happens. In 6 years, I think I've seen Oscar rattled twice, and we got him rattled the other night. So it was quite funny. That Cardiff game, Connor, we actually scored first with the Dukes, did we, mate? Yeah, I was riffing off the top of my head there, to be honest with you. The Gillingham one, though, they had a midfielder. I'm sure he was player manager. A little quiz for you guys. So that era for Leeds United, my memory is unbelievable. Normally from like end of 90s to beginning of noughties, because I used to have VHSs of Leeds all the time. I'd get up on a Saturday morning, Sunday morning, slap the VHSs, the season reviews, and watch Leeds for a full morning. That's what I'd do. And then watch them in the evenings, obviously, or 3 o'clock when they'd be playing. But I used to do it every single time. So I'm waffling here, everybody. It's quite nice in the international break, isn't it? Morning, Connor, says Mike. Hope you're well. I've recently purchased the Matteo Joseph hoodie you have on the store and really like it. Will you make any Sol Bamba related merch in honor of him? Also, in January, do you think Leeds will be active in the transfer market again? Guys, Mike is bang on the money here. We have absolutely loads on our store right now. We've got Altanaka. I think we've got Schmidt stuff as well. Sol Bamba, if you want it, we will make it. Genuinely, the partnership with me and Back Four is unbelievable. It is genuinely so good. So anything you guys want, we'll set up. I'll give them a call after this. So yeah, Sol Bamba, we can sort that out 100%, mate. Also in the January, do you think Leeds will be active in the transfer market? I do, Mike. Yeah, I think we're going to go for a creative player, 100%. Hessenthaler, that's him. That's it. Hessenthaler. Oh, Freddie. Going back to the old days now, aren't we, mate? Is that what the noughties are now? God, the old days. The old days. Flipping out. God. We should do a nostalgia stream, shouldn't we? Would you all want a nostalgia stream? We'll do that. We'll fire out memories. We'll get some clips on there and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, we'll do that. Right, listen, I'm going to leave you guys alone. I know you're bored of me, but listen, really appreciate some of your contributions in the last video as well. You can hit the thanks button, everybody, and donate what it would be to have like a coffee, £1, £2, whatever. You can do that after the stream. It's next to the join and subscribe button, just in the picture below. Thank you to Dave who did that. Shout out to Indian Satan 92 who sent one in the last video as well. Really appreciate that. Thank you to all your Patreon members. My Patreon members, it's going up. We're nearly 300 members, I think, now. So shout out to all of you guys. As I said, link in the description below. Check out IPM Group UK for all of your security needs. Everybody, they're fantastic. They're a Leeds-based sponsor on the channel as well. Football prizes are in the link in the description below as well if you want to get involved in this week's prize. Guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. Connor out, and I'll see you tomorrow with the week leading up to Burnley. See you in a bit.